After months of keeping a low profile, Adult Swim has finally given us some updates on Rick and Morty's future. Thanks to an interview right out of the Annecy Festival. What's the word on the new voices behind Rick and Morty? Will the series still make it to season 10? Or will they close up shop early? Let's waste no time and dive right in. To celebrate its first decade, and maybe not its last, Rick and Morty made the trip to Annecy Animation Film Festival, where Adult Swim channel president Michael Roiland and executive producer Steve Levy are organizing a panel entitled Rick and Morty, 10 Years of Intergalactic Adventures. A few hours before, we met them on the shores of the lake to discuss the unparalleled fate of the series, Season 7, and obviously the complicated departure of its co-creator Justin Roiland, who notably voiced the main characters. What's happened in a decade is crazy. Everyone who participates in the series has been surprised by its longevity. Most of the time in this industry, if you can do 3 or 4 seasons, you're already happy. We've seen Rick and Morty grow from a niche show on Adult Swim to an international thing with fans all over the world. It's incredible. The series is quite sparing in red threads. There are plenty of episodes on Evil Morty, The Citadel, and Rick's wife, but we feel like you don't want to go too far. Dan Harmon, the co-creator of the series, grew up watching the sitcoms of the 70s and 80s, where each episode operated independently of the others. Nothing was serialized, and that allowed a series to last much longer. I don't see us writing a series of a red thread to follow each week. It would be too hard. Imagine 10 seasons of this on Rick and Morty. We would end up making episodes just to make episodes and feed the story as best as we can. We would put a ball on our feet. The concept has always been to go from one adventure to another. On the other hand, we had to feel the characters evolve. And that's where these somewhat special episodes on Evil Morty or Rick Prime come in, but always in small touches, otherwise we would risk saying too much and we would have nothing more to say. The rule is that there must be at least one episode each season evoking the big story. That way people are rewarded for continuing to watch the show. By the way, we have some very cool things in stock for Season 7. Okay, you can't say all of that and then say, we have some very cool things in stock for Season 7. Yeah, 1 episode apparently. I'm not trying to trip, but I don't like this answer. If Season 6 already didn't make it obvious, yeah, Rick and Morty will never be a fully serialized show. But I would have taken any other answer than, it's too hard. Because you don't see the people behind Venture Bros coming out and saying, no more story guys, it's too hard. Venture Bros always knew how to balance serialization and episodic adventures pretty well. So seeing Rick and Morty's team wave the white flag on serialization because it's too much of a challenge really just leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. I don't need every episode to push the story along, but I do need more than a season premiere or a season finale. It also just feels like such a cop-out answer because Season 3 had a lot of continuity. A lot of fans just didn't care about the thread they decided to make the big overarching narrative. Whether Rick and Morty likes it or not, they are a show airing in 2023, not the 70s or 80s. They're free to make whatever episodes they want, but an ongoing story and a focus on the bigger picture is what a lot of viewers of today desire. And I think refusing to adapt to that, but just adding like 2 more story-intensive episodes in the season, is just setting themselves up to get criticized by fans for years to come, and for them to yell at fans within the show for years to come. Enough dwelling on this next question. Will Season 7 be released in September? We haven't announced it, but it will be this year. We try to keep roughly the same dates every year. So yeah, we can expect Season 7 this year. I wouldn't be surprised if it ended up being October, depending on how casting goes, or depending on how much Roiland recorded before he got the boot. But that takes us right into the next question. With Justin Roiland fired, what will happen to the voices of Rick and Morty and the other characters he doubled? Roiland says he will be replaced in dubbing. By imitators of his voice? There are many. No, not imitators. In any case, the idea is that we feel like they are the same characters. Listen, voices are obviously super important in an animated series. And of course, none of us wanted to go through what we went through. But I've been in animation for a long time, and I know what makes a series is its different parts coming together. If the voices are obviously a big part, there is also the writing of the characters and their design. I have reason to believe that the transition will go well. Levy interjects, the writing quality has never been better, and all the screenwriters have stayed. I don't think anyone will bat an eyelid hearing the new voices. But would someone who watches Rick and Morty and isn't aware of Justin Roiland's departure not realize that the voices have changed? Roiland says, yes, I believe it is possible. Forgive me for insisting, but only one person will replace Roiland? We're still in the recruitment process, says Levy, but it's looking good, Roiland interjects. It's a rather unique situation. I'll take an example. There have been several great Bugs Bunny voice actors, and I love what Jet Bennett has done with them. But it's not Mel Blanc, and yet we recognize the character. I even think that for Rick and Morty, we will do even better, and it will be fine. It'll be great. Now, this was a little confusing for me to read, but I think that just maybe because this is a translation. But I believe they're just saying they're not gonna hire anyone off TikTok. They're going for actual voice actors with training and experience, which checks out to me. I think we're in for a situation like Star vs. the Forces of Evil, where one of the prominent characters, Glossaric, got recast from Jeffrey Tambor to Keith David. And while Glossaric's new voice is pretty noticeable if you ask me, I think it still sounds like Glossaric.
Step into my eyeball. Yes, that's what I said. Come on, hop in.
No. Eclipse's monster loved Globgore. She's going off to be with him.
Is his voice different?
Next question. To stay on the subject, how did you experience the ousting of Justin Roiland and the media noise that this generated? Levy says, the pill was hard to swallow. We were shocked and disturbed by what happened, but we stuck together and we put all our energy into the series. We decided to stay positive, and in the end, we produced the best drawings, scripts, and animations of the entire series. And Dan Harmon has always been in the trenches with us every step of the way. He always has an eye on everything. And sometimes that means he asks us to rewrite entire scripts, but for the good of the series. He never walked away after Justin left. Roiland says, there's no guide on how to react to this stuff, and it's not normal to experience that. Of course it's hard, of course it hurts. But when a whole team works on a series, the series actually becomes more important than one person. Season 7 will be pivotal, we know it, but I think we've never done better so far. In addition, Season 8 is already fully written, and we managed to draw a good part of Season 9 before the writer's strike. So we are already talking about Season 10. Which will be the final season? Or do you want to do like The Simpsons and never stop? Levy says, good question. Michael, answer that. I'm interested. Roiland responds, the series has already answered it. Rick and Morty forever. Levy says, we could go on forever. The series is a vehicle for great sci-fi ideas, which may have been around for a long time elsewhere. We obviously didn't invent the multiverse, but we made it known to an audience that didn't know the concept. We are inspired by great science fiction, and there are still millions of ideas to be exploited. And even if the multiverse is used absolutely everywhere now, to the point that it becomes tiring, we are ready to bounce back. It's an exciting challenge. What could we do after the multiverse? So much more you will see in future seasons. We want originality. We want to push the limits. So although their earlier statements of a lack of serialization did, piss me off, mainly because their non-story-driven episodes just don't hit the highs of seasons 1 and 2. The idea of them retooling the show and branching out beyond the multiverse has me really excited. And honestly, we don't even need the multiverse for the show to be interesting like that. I think a lot of the sci-fi concepts this series already has, like the new Galactic Federation, is way more interesting than seeing another parallel universe. While I am curious about what lies beyond the central finite curve, I know the team is creative enough to cook up something great. Although I'm not sure how I feel about it running beyond season 10. I know Adult Swim likes keeping all of their shows around for as long as possible, but 10 seasons is more than enough. But I don't want to be in like season 15 and the show is still balancing story arcs that don't get resolved for another 5 years. Now, if it was season 15 and we were getting season 2 level one-off bangers, I really wouldn't care. But I just don't get this obsession for every network to have their own Simpsons or SpongeBob. It's okay to let shows end. But with the state of everything, unless the Animation Guild goes on strike, I could easily see Season 7 coming out this year as planned, Season 8 coming out next year if it's already written, and probably a delay for Season 9 if it's not getting animated as soon as it could be, let alone written. But I don't think the world's going to end if we have to wait an extra year for Rick and Morty, because that's just how the show was rolling out initially. But that's about everything. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and keep the conversation going over at Roundtable Vids and at OffStrikeVox on Twitter and Instagram. If you enjoyed this video, throw it a like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.